I'll just do it like this. So, I always associate a childhood story with the pleasures of letter writing. You see, I come from a long line of letter scribes. Growing up in Mission, Texas, I saw my mother swap weekly letters with her sister Charlotte. This was an old family tradition and explained why my mother called her German-born grandparents Dear Mama and Dear Papa. My mother explained, when Charlotte and I were little girls, we saw our mother writing letters, and we asked her, who are you writing to? And our mother told us to Dear Mama and Dear Papa. That is, my grandmother, Eva, wrote to her parents, so granddaughters Shirley and Charlotte forever referred to their grandparents as Dear Mama and Dear Papa. So from a very early age, I remember my mother modeling the value and enjoyment of writing letters. She drilled into my younger brother and me that you always write thank you notes for gifts and send updates to your parents when you were away in college and, well, forever. As a result, I indeed wrote home weekly in college and after I moved to New York after college. Mom did the same with her writing to me. Mom had been living with her sister Charlotte in Tyler, Texas in the early 1980s after she got cancer, so both of them got my letters. After my mother died in 1984, I just kept writing, now addressing letters to Aunt Charlotte only. I didn't even have to update the address. Every Monday, I wrote Aunt Charlotte to recap the drama of my swinging New York weekends. Think Sex in the City, but without the sex. She wrote to me faithfully, often with clips from the Dallas Morning News. I saved every letter that I got from my mother and Aunt Charlotte, hundreds of them from the late 1970s to Charlotte's death in 1997. I kept their letters bound with others entwined. Here's an example from 1980, and this is just a small bundle. A little obsessive compulsive. So God forbid that I ever slacked off the schedule lest I get an irate phone call from either of them. Now, you have to keep in mind that my Aunt Charlotte spoke with a very heavy East Texas accent. She pronounced my one-syllable first name as two syllables, not Van, but Van. So when the letter failed to pop up in the mailbox in Tyler on schedule, she would call and ask, Van, where's my letter? I got the message and I got back on to writing. One letter alluded to her inquiries. I wrote, Dear Aunt Charlotte, thanks for the call today. I have been meaning to write, but things have been hectic at work. Not frantic, but enough to keep me occupied. I have that letter because I wrote to her and my mother using carbon paper. So I have all my letters. So what did she write about? Well, she told me about visits with friends, the comings and goings of her children and grandchildren, and appearances by celebrities like Andy Rooney and Ed Koch when they spoke in Tyler. In one letter from 1987, typed on Saturday night, 9:30, I do the same thing, dating everything. She wrote, Dear Van, after the Golden Girls, there's nothing on Saturday night I look forward to. I howl over the Golden Girls. It reminds me of the way Daddy used to laugh over Jack Benny. She also explained in great detail her wheeling and dealing in the stock market. So my letters to Mom and Aunt Charlotte created a weekly report on my life, just like theirs to me did the same. I wrote about my work as a magazine reporter, my up and down finances as a freelancer, and the downtown Brooklyn lifestyle, back before it became overly gentrified. They read my letters and then they would mail them on to other family members. After I moved to Connecticut, after I got married and moved to Connecticut, the letters touched on more serious issues, the struggles to have a child, difficult family dynamics, job frustrations. On September 17th, 1993, I mused, I never thought I would get in this jam, but here I am, and on some level it's hard to accept. I keep hoping things will stabilize, but they never really have. Having a house, medical problems, little did I know what life had in store for me. but eventually I could report on the pleasures of parenthood. On January 7, 1997, I wrote about my son. Before he goes to bed at night, he comes downstairs and asks me to give him some yogurt, and I do, and that's a sweet moment. By late 1997, Aunt Charlotte's failing health became obvious in her shaky handwriting and uneven typing. In one of my last letters, I wrote about my 3-year-old son, Sam. We took Sam to his first movie last weekend to see Hercules at a multiplex. It went well and he enjoyed it, and even wants to go again. Well, Aunt Charlotte died that fall, and my letter writing mostly stopped dead in its tracks. Email was quickly replacing letters. Nobody wanted to write and get stamps. And I miss the days of snail mail. For me, handwritten letters express your personality. My mother and Aunt Charlotte had instantly recognizable handwriting, and their voices came through loud and clear in their letters. How many of us today know the handwriting of a relative or friend and can hear them in their writing? Letters mark a moment of joint time of just me sharing with just you. Stamped envelopes don't come with a BCC or reply to all options, which, as many of you know, can get you into a lot of trouble. Yeah. The voice of experience out there. A letter gives somebody a physical part of you, and nobody hacks a handwritten letter. I still send real letters, typically birthday cards and thank you notes, and at my stage of life, condolence cards. They're very value priced at Trader Joe's if you ever want to pick some up. I've got some friends, mostly from childhood, who still like to swap letters and especially postcards. When a surprise letter brightens my mailbox every couple of months, the impact is deeply satisfying. To hold that person's handwritten thoughts touches me deeply. That individual took the time to share something special and even secret. As the jazz standard song goes, just you, just me. So now, we're going to move into the audience participation part of this program. I want you to enjoy the thrill of writing a letter. And I'm going to make it easy for you. I have here in my hand envelopes and cards from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Claude Monet with stamps on them. You don't have to go across the street to the Beverly Hills post office or anything. So here, I made it easy. First come, first serve. I think I have enough for everybody. Here is your chance to write to your parents, your kids, a friend, our rocket MC, Luz Michelle. Trust me, anybody who gets a handwritten letter from you will be completely flabbergasted. Give it a try. If you're under like 40, you may not have even gotten a handwritten letter in your life. Give it a try. And I know Mom and Aunt Charlotte, wherever they are now, would be mighty pleased by your good manners. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep it going for Van Wallet. So much excitement, right? What day is it? Today's Thursday, right? All day?